Hi friends, it's day 3 of fall baking and treat week for our holiday themed weeks, and today we have a caramel apple bark. I've seen caramel apple bark before, but it's always like a slab of chocolate with pieces of apple kind of sporadically put around, and I really wanted to make my own version where there was a lot more apple, really making it feel like a chunk of caramel apple. So I decided to start by cutting some of my Granny Smith apples into chunks off of the core and then doing thin slices that I could fan out. I'm specifically using a Granny Smith apple because they have a really great tartness that helps to balance out the sweetness. Once we're done cutting our apple slices, then I started to melt down some chocolate. I have a mixture of dark chocolate chips as well as some semi-sweet chocolate chips. And after melting them down in short increments, we stir them all together. So I just did a tiny bit of chocolate and spread it on the bottom with our offset spatula. Then we're going to fan out all of our apples, completely covering the top of this chocolate. Then over our apple slices, I did a very generous drizzle of our chocolate over top, then used our offset spatula to move it around, trying to make sure everything gets nice and coated. Then we're immediately adding some warmed caramel. I had a batch of my cookie butter salted caramel that is one of my favorite things to use, and I just carefully poured it over the top and then quickly used my offset spatula to spread it out into a nice even and thin layer. Then right after that, we're going to pour on the rest of our melted chocolate and carefully spread it out with the offset spatula. Finally, to finish this off, I did a sprinkle of some sea salt, and I wanted something crunchy, something with a little bit of texture. I was going to do some nuts, but I wanted to be able to make sure everybody could have this, so I decided to opt for some Cocoa Pebbles cereal that I had on hand, and I just did a nice generous sprinkle over the top. The reason I decided to add the Cocoa Pebbles cereal is because I wanted an extra textural component to this, and I wanted something that added some crunch. Nuts would have been a great choice, but like I said, I opted for this just in case someone had a nut allergy. After using a chef's knife to cut it into little squares, it's ready to enjoy. The only unfortunate thing about this dessert is that you pretty much have to eat it on the first day, and some of the pieces did start to fall apart a little bit, especially as that moisture got released over a couple of days. But on the first day that this is made, this is exactly like a little chunk of caramel apple, exactly what I was hoping it would be. What do you think of this caramel apple bark, and would you give it a try? Make sure to let me know in the comments, and of course stay tuned for more fun fall baking and treats this week.